evening, Rotorua. Tonight on City News, Mayor Kevin Winters says there's been only a few minor hiccups as ratepayers begin receiving their first quarter rates demands. The Rotorua District Council Community Arts Officer resigns from her position, and Te Puke wins back-to-back Baywide Premier titles. Those stories and more coming up next on City News. Rates demands for the Rotorua District have been set, with most ratepayers now knowing what their first quarter payments are. Mayor Kevin Winters says most ratepayers have been aware for some time of changes, and so far there have only been a few minor hiccups.
So we've engaged with the community quite well. A couple of hiccups, we accept that, but when you need to remember we've got 28,000 ratepayers. I can't deal with everyone individually. We can only deal with bands of or groups of ratepayers, and I think by and large people have been aware of the change. A few hiccups, as I said, but in terms of the way forward, I think people will really liken the changes.
More from Mayor Kevin Winters in tonight's City News programme. The Rotorua District Council Community Arts Officer Kiri Jardine has resigned from her position to take up a similar role with the Christchurch City Council. Ms Jardine has overseen numerous successful community arts projects in the city, including the running of the successful V48 Hours film competition and the annual Magma Film Festival. She says her job has been a real pleasure and a challenge as well, and so ultimately very rewarding. Kiri Jardine leaves her role as Community Arts Officer on August the 24th. A new exhibition at the Elam Gallery showcases the work of top New Zealand photographer Bruce Jarvis. The exhibition is an iconic collection of photographs of live concerts that have rocked New Zealand over the last 4 decades, including international acts like the Rolling Stones, Rod Stewart and the Beatles, as well as New Zealand groups like the Mockers and Split Enz. Elam Gallery owner Jasmine Robbins says viewing the collection is like a trip down memory lane for many Kiwi rock concert fans.
It was a pretty cool era. I think the 70s were when we first started doing really big live outdoor gigs. Before that they were like kind of town halls and stuff, and then we started having the 3-day festivals and the big live gigs, and for some people those were just like turning points in their life or amazing memories, and so I think it'll be pretty cool for people who have actually been to them.
The Rock Legends exhibition is on this month and entry is free. And in sport tonight, the party goes on for newly crowned Super Rugby champions, the Chiefs, with a victory parade through central Hamilton today. The Chiefs demolished a travel-weary Sharks side 37-6 in a lopsided Super 15 rugby final in Hamilton on Saturday night to become the third New Zealand side to win the title. The win sent Hamilton into party mode, with hundreds of delirious cowbell-ringing fans making their way into the central city and others letting off fireworks in their backyards despite the rain. The Chiefs' title win crowns a stellar year for sport in the Waikato Bay of Plenty after the successes of Lake Karapiro-trained Olympic rowers and the ANZ Championship winners, the Waikato of Bay of Plenty Magic. To Baywide Rugby now, and Te Puke Sports have defended their Baywide Premier title with a 12-3 win over Rotoiti in Tauranga on Saturday. Bay of Plenty Rugby Wairiki chairman Trevor Albert says both teams had to contend with boggy grounds, with Rotoiti giving away too many silly penalties. To weather now, Rotorua, brought to you by Trevor Robson Signs and Graphics Limited. Tonight, a few showers with westerly breezes, an overnight low of 4. Tomorrow, Tuesday, fine spells with afternoon rain. Northerlies with a high of 13 and a low of 5. The outlook for Wednesday, a few showers with southwesterly changes, a high of 12 and a low of 3. Marine weather forecast for Lake Rotorua. Northerly rising to 15 knots late morning, easing to westerly 15 knots in the evening. Waves less than half a metre, poor visibility developing in rain. And coming up after the break, Martin Croft from Events and Venues talks about plans for the New Year's Eve Mardi Gras. Wayne Douglas is at the signing of the MOU between Scion and the University of Waikato. And I talk with Rotorua Mayor Kevin Winters.